the great John Lewis. What a way to end, and greetings, beloveds, from here in Minneapolis, where I am on Dakota and Anishinaabe land. My name is Ashley Horan, and I serve as the Organizing Strategy Director for our Unitarian Universalist Association, where I have the deep privilege of leading the team that holds the outward-facing justice ministries of our association, including so many of the amazing folks that you've heard from today, and the campaigns that include Side with Love and You the Vote and Love Resists and more. This has been such an incredibly rich time and an incredible joy and privilege for me to be together with this group of movement leaders and policy advocates and justice workers and faithful servants in our shared movements for justice and liberation. In the midst of this particular season, this time of deepening silence and darkness and waiting, as well as this time of anxiety and uncertainty after the elections and before inauguration, during this period of deep loss and devastation that continues to be wrought by the ongoing pandemic, it's especially important that we take this time to be together, to celebrate our work and to dream about the struggles and the victories that are to come. So when Pablo graciously invited me to give the closing charge to this gathering, he asked me to reflect on those words that we just heard from the late, great Representative John Lewis, who so famously said, "Never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble." So as we leave, I want to talk a little bit about what trouble means as we leave here. And I offer in closing some blessings and some charges for all of us as we recommit ourselves to that lifelong work of principled struggle for liberation, grounded in unshakable love. Beloveds, let us make good trouble by grounding all the work we do in humility. Take a beat before we make a well-meaning suggestion, or send a critique, or question the tactics, or assume that we know something that others haven't yet realized. Let's make good trouble by supporting the leadership of Black and Indigenous and people of color, by queer and trans people, by women and poor folks and disabled people and immigrants who are fighting for a more just and liberated world. Let's show up even when we have questions, or when we would do things differently, or when the ask being made of us requires sacrifice or discomfort. Let's make good trouble by pushing past the limits of our comfort zones. Let's do work grounded in relationship with the spirit of service and boldness that we lean into, because we sense deep in our bones that we are a part of the struggle for building a more just and loving world that began with our ancestors and that will continue for generations beyond our own lifetimes. Let's take risks, say yes, make sacrifices, do the thing that needs to be done because it is right, because it is needed, and not because it's easy. Let's make good trouble by engaging in spiritual practices that nurture our spirits, make us stronger and kinder and more connected, so that we can show up as our best selves. Pray daily. Make art and music connect with our healthy, healed ancestors. Worship, move our bodies with intention. Protest and march in the company of beloveds, weaving a vision of a world worth fighting for. Then rinse and repeat over and over. Let's make good trouble by making space for grief and lamentation in our own hearts, in our communities, and in the world. The losses and the pain and the real humans and families and bodies that have been harmed are real, flesh and bone. Allow our hearts to break, to connect with our humanity and the humanity of the real people who suffer. And then, but as well, let us make good trouble by choosing joy over cynicism, resilience over fragility, generosity over pettiness, gratitude over scarcity. Let's dance in our bathrobes and make food for our beloveds and sing off key and kiss our sweethearts and squeeze our babies as a daily act of resistance. Let us not allow them to steal our joy, to steal our spirit. And finally, let us make good trouble by giving our highest allegiance not to any one organization or politician or campaign or movement strategy, because none of them will save us. Instead, let us give our deepest allegiance, our life's blood and sweat and breath, to that spirit of liberation that holds us all faithfully, irrevocably, reminding us that each and every one of us is worthy of love, embodied in a lived reality of agency and wellness and healing and stability and joy. Let's make some good trouble together, beloveds. Go forth, be bold, be humble, be grateful, be blessed. May it be so. Blessed be and amen.